Well, hello everybody and welcome to Jeff's Baking Blog. Today I'm going to be making Queen of Sheba cake. This is a cake that I saw in Julia Child's book, Mastering the Art of French Cooking or Cookery. And I actually watched a video of her making this from a television show in the 1960s, which is quite amusing. Now this cake is quite a thin cake, and it's chocolate with some almonds and flour and butter and eggs, and with the flavour of rum. Now you could actually substitute strong coffee for the rum, but I'm putting rum in because I don't like coffee. And once we've made the cake, I'm also going to make a ganache that goes over the top. I actually did this cake yesterday, but for some reason the batteries on both my cameras drained and didn't finish the filming, and I didn't notice it until I'd finished, otherwise I could change them out or put the cables on. But anyway, we'll go on to the ingredients for the cake first of all. And in my stand mixer I have 115 grams of softened butter, and then I have 115 grams of caster sugar plus an extra 15 grams of caster sugar, 3 medium egg yolks, that would be large in the USA, 60 grams of ground almonds and 60 grams of plain flour, 3 medium egg whites, again large in the USA, 2 tablespoons of dark rum, and into that I've also put a quarter of a teaspoon of almond extract, and I'm going to use a pinch of salt with the egg whites. And I also have this pan of chocolate, melted chocolate, 115 grams of dark chocolate. I'm using 55%. Now you could melt that chocolate on a bain-marie, which is in a bowl over a pot of simmering water. It's also known as a double boiler. Or you could do it in the microwave if you're very careful, but I have this little machine that does it, so I've used that. So the first thing to do is to add the 115 grams of sugar into the softened butter and cream it until it's nice and fluffy. And with the butter creamed, I'm going to add the egg yolks one at a time and mix those in. Now I should say I have my oven preheating at 180 Celsius, that's 160 Celsius with a fan, or 350 Fahrenheit. And I have buttered an 8-inch cake pan. This is a springform one, but it doesn't have to be. And I've also floured it, and I've lined the bottom with parchment paper. So we'll cream the eggs. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the chocolate, but I'm also going to add the rum and the almond essence at the same time. So I'm going to mix that into the chocolate. And then I'm going to pour that in. and mix that until it's all combined. And into that I'm going to add the almonds and the flour. Now Julia Childs doesn't add the flour until she adds the egg whites later, but I think mixing the flour in at that stage knocks too much air out of the egg whites. So I'll sprinkle those in and just mix them to combine. And then I'm going to set that aside while we whisk the egg whites. So in a separate bowl I'm going to put in the egg whites and I'm going to add just a pinch of salt. And I'm going to whisk those until they're frothy and they're beginning to increase in volume. And as they've started to increase in volume, I'm going to gradually add the sugar, the 15 grams of caster sugar. That will help them thicken up to nice stiff peaks. Okay, so we have that a nice stiff peak stage, but not so stiff that it started to go dry, because that makes it difficult to mix in. So what we're going to do now is to gently fold the egg whites into our chocolate batter, and we'll take about a quarter to a third of it first, and we'll mix that in quite energetically, really. It will knock the air out of the whites, but it will loosen the batter just a little bit. And then I'm going to put the rest of the egg whites in. And we'll fold this in gently, trying not to knock too much air out. We're going to put it into our cake tin. And this cake should be moist right in the centre. I've got a bit of egg white there, I'll just give that a mix. And it should firm up nicely on the outside. So once we've got the batter in, we need to spread it around up to the edges. And then we're going to put that in the oven and bake it for 25 minutes. And a skewer poked into the cake around the edges, and the maybe 2 inches in from the edge, should be quite dry, but if you poke a skewer into the centre, it's likely to come out slightly moist still, and that's when it's done. So you take that out and we'll let it cool down completely before we go on to the next stage. Our cake is out of the oven and it baked for 25 minutes, and it was, when I poked a skewer in, it was came out clean here, and when I poked a skewer into the centre here, it came out just with a little bit of chocolate on. And I'm going to just turn it over like that, and we're going to put the ganache on top of the underside. So what I've got now is I have 60 grams of chocolate, which I've melted with a tablespoon of dark rum. I have 60 grams of butter, and I just have some almonds to decorate the top. So the first thing I'm going to do is to pour the chocolate into the butter. And I'm then going to stir that around. And then with the chocolate melted, I'm just going to pour it on the top. And then let it fall over the sides. And with that thinly coated like that, I'm going to just put a few almonds on it. Like that. And I'm going to leave it for the chocolate to firm up. It's not a big coating of chocolate, it's just a little bit to finish it off. And then once it's firmed up, we'll come back and I'll cut it. Well, our cake has now had the ganache firmed up, and I've cut into it, and as you can see, it's nice and moist inside. Like that. So we'll have a little taste of it. Oh, that is very good. It's nice and soft and moist, and you've got that chocolate flavour, but you can also just taste the rum as well. Very, very good indeed, and quite easy to make. So well done to Julia Childs for that recipe. So that's going to be it for today. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have, please give me the thumbs up below the video and click to subscribe to my YouTube channel. In the top right hand corner, as ever, there will be an eye that you can click on, which will take you to my blog and the recipe on my blog. And I'll also put a link to that recipe below the video so you can get to it that way. And I will be back with you in the near future with another video. So until then, happy baking.